Dudes, welcome to Sense of Style. My name's Stuart. Thanks for tuning in. Today we're talking 10 out of 10. We're talking perfection. We're talking, and that's hard. Perfection is tough. So I made it a little easier on the fragrances. And so instead of them having to be perfect all around, they just have to be perfect at one thing, whether that's situation or a season or maybe a note. And the three notes that I'm going to be highlighting today, because I think they're extra special, and I'll be talking about them as I discuss the fragrances. Now, the first fragrance is one of the special notes I was talking to you about. And I know people in the West are a little bit skeptical of this note because my video on this did terribly. That note is Oud, and the fragrance, this is 10 out of 10. This is Oud Pashmina by the House of Montale. Now, the House of Montale is a Middle Eastern oud house. It's based in Paris, but it focuses on Middle Eastern fragrances, especially oud. Half their fragrances are oud. Now, the thing about oud is it's relatively new to the West. Only in 2002 did Tom Ford decide to bring it into the fragrance world, but there have been references to oud going back 3,400 years in various texts. I mean, all over Asia, oud has always been seen as kind of an elite scent. You know, it's really, really nice and really rich and really sort of status building. I think the problem with people in the West is they've tried an oud fragrance that they weren't ready for, or they've tried one that wasn't very good. And so they think, oh, it's going to be fecal or it's going to be gross. But man, oh man, the first time I tried a really good niche fragrance, all I got was wealth. It smelled like wealth. And this fragrance, that's what it smells like. This is very simple. It's oud, rose, and a lot of vanilla. It's a sweet oud. This makes me feel like on top of the world. This actual gut, visceral feeling of superiority when I put this on. It's just like, I feel like my social status, goes up a notch. And I think oud is one of those notes where it's really good at. And yeah, if you're going to get like Montale, be careful. Be careful because they got a lot of crazy ouds. This is a good one. This is 10 out of 10. Speaking of money and wealth and feeling superior, 10 out of 10 fragrance, old school style. This is Polo green. This is magnificent. Normally, I would be really cautious about telling young people, and when I say young, I mean 40 and younger, about anything old school. This came out in 78, and I'm very skeptical of that era because there's not a lot of sweetness. There's a lot of aromatics. You guys won't be familiar with it, but this is one you really need to try. This is an absolute, unbelievably gorgeous fragrance. Now, I'm going to talk about Jeremy for a second because I love that guy. I'm sorry. I know you guys hate him, but I freaking love Jeremy. He's crazy, but he's got a good heart. He's always going on about this fragrance being the Wolf of Wall Street. This is F Black by Salvatore Ferragamo. And this is like a pepper-based fragrance. And it is somewhat masculine, but he's always like, yeah, that's what a guy on Wall Street would wear. And especially when the Wolf of Wall Street movie came out with starring Leonardo DiCaprio, and it was about a guy named Jordan Belfort who actually wore this, because this is what the real guys on Wall Street wear. This is what a lot of wealthy people in the 1980s wore. This was the 80s, and 80s was an incredibly wealthy decade for pretty much everybody. And oh my God, you got to get your nose on this. What it is, it's leather, tobacco, and pine. There's some other old school notes, but the notes are not going to do this justice. You just got to try it. This is one I would try. You may not like it. Give it a shot. Number 3, I did this one in my opening video, the unboxing. This is Asad by Lataffa. This is a clone of, a 10 out of 10 clone of Elixir, Dior Sauvage Elixir. I mean, I don't know what to say about this one. I was speechless in my unboxing video, and I'm still speechless. This is a $28 fragrance. The presentation, as far as I'm concerned, it's beautiful. It's really nice. I mean, it's a bit weird, because the base, I was actually holding this wrong, upside down in my unboxing video because the smaller side is down, but it's gorgeous presentation. This is extremely heavy. The atomizer is great. The smell is absolutely fantastic. And so what you're looking at here is basically a mixture, and this is this elixir and this basically that I'm describing. It's a mixture of aromatic, and there's a lot of lavender. It's really lavender heavy and gourmandy. So there's a lot of vanilla, there's cinnamon, there's licorice. So you're getting a little bit of both blended beautifully together, and especially the first couple of hours with this, just fantastic. Can't believe the price. Okay, perfect date night fragrance. I'm not going to talk about this one much because I talked about it a lot already. So this is Versace Dylan Blue. This is basically the Dior formula. There's bergamot, black pepper, and ambroxan. It's an ambroxan forward fragrance. It's really in your face. It really appeals to women. Dior put a lot of research into this over the years. It's been extremely successful, but the thing I like about this is it smells different to Sauvage. You're not going to smell like everyone else. This is darker. This has got incense, and I don't know why. I'm still not sure why about this, but this is a lot cheaper. This is this is $50 fragrance, which is unbelievable given how effective it is at dating. It's not my favorite fragrance in the world. I like it. I don't love it. But if I'm dating or if I'm meeting up with women or, people in a group, this is what I'm wearing. I'm not a big fan of summer fragrances because I'm not a huge citrus guy, but there are a couple of summer fragrances I like. There's only one that I really look forward to wearing in the summer. This is a 10 out of 10 summer fragrance. This is Bleu de Chanel Eau de Toilette, not Eau de Parfum, not Parfum. Those have amber in it. They're more versatile, but this is better for summer. This has got a gorgeous grapefruit opening with some bergamot and then a lot of woody aroma chemicals in the dry down. It's blended to perfection. I don't think I need to convince anybody that this is a 10 out of 10 fragrance. I really don't. I think you guys know that already. All right. This is an important one because this emphasizes a note that I think gets underserved in the fragrance community. People don't talk about it a lot, but I think it's a really elegant, really, really high-end note that can turn a designer fragrance into a niche if used properly. And this exemplifies that note more than any other. This is Prada Amber Pour Homme, and the note I'm talking about is saffron. Saffron is the most expensive spice by weight in the world. It's the internal part of a specific type of crocus, and then it's dried and cured, and it smells like really sparkly and bright, almost like pepper, but a bright kind of pepper. And it can really add a sharp edge and brighten a fragrance. And that's exactly what it does to this. Essentially, this Amber Pour Homme is a soapy fragrance, but everyone always says it smells like super expensive soap. The expensive part comes from the saffron. There's tons of saffron in this. And I think saffron isn't talked about enough because, as I said, it can really turn sort of a mundane fragrance into something special. I think this is something special. I also think this is a 10 out of 10 work fragrance. This one is not a compliment puller. It really isn't. You may get some. What this is, though, is you wear 3 or 4 sprays of that every day at work, and you're consistent about it. You're not like the fragrance guy. You just smell clean and you smell like you know what you're doing. And honestly, I think if you use like work fragrances like this properly, I really do think it'll increase your status at work and, increase what your managers and people in authority think about you. Because I think, I think it's something special. I really do. Iris, that is the third special note that I wanted to talk about. I don't think iris needs any introduction. I think people already know that powdery iris can add, especially on a man, a degree of sophistication. Christian Dior figured that out in the early 2000s, and then they came out with the Dior Homme line, and this is the perfection of it. This is a 10 out of 10 fragrance and a 10 out of 10 use of iris. This is Dior Homme Intense. It's got that powdery iris, and it's not the most powdery or the most in-your-face iris fragrance, but what it does nicely is you've got the powderiness of a really nice iris, sort of contrasted with the creaminess of ambrette. And ambrette is a seed. It's also called musk mallow. They crush it up, and it's got a creamy quality to it. So you've got creaminess, and powderiness, and they both play off one another so beautifully, and this is just gorgeous. Okay, I talked about summer. Now we're going to talk about winter. Now, a lot of people, when they talk about winter, and they're kind of right. They talk about Burberry London, it smells like Christmas. I get it. But I got this last Christmas. This is what I got. To me, this is a winter fragrance. So how do I define winter? I define winter by, 5 degrees above freezing and down. So, usually there's snow on the ground, that kind of thing. So it's not fall, it's winter, it's cold. You really need something soothing. This has got the original Farenheit DNA with leather and violet leaf, and it's got a beautiful vanilla note with some rum. I mean, if rum and vanilla doesn't sound soothing to you on a cold winter's day, I don't know what is. I got this for Christmas, not knowing whether it was a Christmas fragrance. It was absolutely perfect for it. This is a gorgeous fragrance. The only problem with this is occasionally you might have a hard time finding it, but it usually comes back. Fall, I had my top 10 for fall list. I waited for this fragrance to do it, and I'm so glad I did, because this is perfection in fall. This is the Boss, the Scent Absolute. This has Maninka fruit, and Maninka fruit is like a very sweet fruit. This also has ginger and vetiver. This opens really fruity. The opening is fine, very nice, but man, when you get the vetiver in the dry down, it smells like something from Chanel. I am not joking. I swear to God, I put this fragrance on, forgot about it, and then half an hour later, I smelled my hand, and I was certain that I had one of my Chanel fragrances on, because it was so smooth and so well blended, and I don't know, it's just gorgeous. And you've got that warm fruitiness for fall. I mean, I'd wear this any time of year, though. Another 10 out of 10 all-round fragrance. This is one I've talked about a lot on the channel. I will always continue to talk about it. This is Oud Noir by Versace. This is easily Versace's best fragrance in terms of quality. Easily. What you get with this is, for $70, this is about $10 or $15 more than your usual $50, $55 Versace offering. You get a really nice oud fragrance, sort of a beginner oud, an appealing oud with a little bit of saffron, ironically, to brighten up the oud and make it a little more accessible. And then in the dry down, you get a lovely cardamom with a sort of sweet, warm date night kind of feel. And it's just beautiful. It's versatile. I would wear this every season, but for summer. Nice bottle. I mean, yeah, it's hard to argue with that one. So hopefully, you guys will find this video perfect, right? Anyway, hopefully one of these perfection fragrances will be good for you and like the sound of it. And if you like it, let me know. Give me a shout. Take care, guys.